Hi, this is Dan with Kurotatsu Studios again, and I thought since I was asked on the forum, I should go ahead and show you the how to set up the spawner that comes along with AI Warrior. So here we go. Alright, I've already got one made in the spawner demo scene, but I went ahead and turned it off, so we'll make a fresh one here. So in the prefabs folder, you can find one I've already made for you. Basically, it's just an empty with this script on it, and it'll add a audio source and a sphere collider, but that sphere collider you don't have to do anything with it because the script will set it up all by itself. So here we go. Let's add a spawner into the scene, and I already have the bruiser put in there. So what you do is the boss character will spawn at the empty, and any of his bodyguards will spawn at any spawn positions you give. So what we can go ahead and do is we can create some empty game objects here. Alright, let's give him 3 bodyguards here. So, alright, let's select the spawner again. Now if we lock it up here in the inspector so it won't change when we click something else, let's go ahead and select all these guys, drag them over here, and they'll add to our spawn positions. So let's move them around here. Let's put one over here and one over here, and drag one up there. Well, that one's right next to the boss, so let's just put it down here. Okay, one thing you'll notice is, alright, my spawner, my main spawner is, well, another thing you need to do is you need to go ahead and select your, and add them to your, parent them to your main spawner, so it makes it a little easier making a prefab or moving these around. But one thing you'll notice here is, well, while I added these game objects and they went ahead and added themselves to the plane here, but say I had I made uneven ground with Gaia or something like that, and I had dropped this spawner. Well, the code I've written for the spawner, what happens in the awake function is that your main spawner, which you drag in, should be at the ground level. Now, these other objects, if you haven't parented to, it's better because they should be parented around this guy's level. But what happens is on the awake function, what I do is I jump the spawner up real quick, about 5 to 10 meters, shoot a ray down, find the ground, and then if there's a piece of ground that's not level with this, but just in case this is underground or something like that, it'll set it nicely on the ground for us to have our enemies spawn at. So let's go ahead and set this up. Alright, so we've got the bruiser in there. Let's give him one of our alternate dudes here for go to my created. Well, I haven't made any. Let's grab one of my other prefabs here, one of my guys. Alright, let's grab the default avatar guy. That'll be his bodyguards. So we'll drop him in there. Now, the spawn rotation is, if it's on none, they'll spawn on, when they spawn, they'll be facing the Z-axis or whichever axis they're saved at, and start there. Now what you can do for a little more randomness, which I like, put random rotation, and now he's not always going to spawn facing the same direction. It's kind of hit or miss. And if you do the look at player, when he spawns, he'll turn and look directly at where the player's at that triggered the spawner. So, which is a nice one for certain games, but I'm going to do a random rotation on both these guys. Alright, so we've got them set, we've got our position set, And you can add an effect here for the boss, and then an effect for the guards too. They can have different effects. I did that on purpose, but I'm going to go ahead and use the same effect here. And you got the effect lifetime you can set for each of those, and then the spawning sound that happens when you run into it. Well, that should be all we need, and you'll also get a peek here at the new player character I made. Just run around to make it look a little easier. Changed it to the regular default avatar because I'm not very fond of Ethan. So and he moves around a lot better now. So here we go. Alright, no enemies. Here we go. Run up here and see what happens. Oh, there we go. I didn't even know I'm there. Here we go. The boss guy. Oh, we're in trouble. His buddy too. Also added get hit for the player characters, so that way you can't just sit here and mow them all down and get. Now there's a gap in between your hits and their hits with you getting hit, so it actually plays a lot more realistically. Take that. Oh. There it is. Okay. Another thing I added with player character is that you can now, alright, so before you could click on each one of these and switch his weapons, or you could use your keyboard and hit 1 through 5 and switch his weapons, but I also added it so on the fly, if you hit the right mouse button, you can switch his weapons, which is a little easier than the way those other two. So there we go. Alright, well that's the spawner that's included. You know, it gets pretty snazzy when you add some real nice effects on it and things. Here, let me show you a look at a player. Now, as soon as I run into it, they ought to all be looking at me and just jump right into combat. A little more intense that way. Oh! Get out of my way. Improved the jump too on the player character because I hated not being able to get up there on that tiny little ledge. Oh, that's right. I also added retreating for your AI now. Now they retreat to their main position once they oh, he got me. When their hit points get low enough, so I can show more of that in future videos, but that's the spawner setup for you, real quick and dirty, but it's pretty easy to do. And if you have any more questions, be sure to visit me on the forums, and I check in daily, and I'll be more than happy to answer. Thanks for your time again. This is Dan, Kototatsu Studios, and this is AI Warrior. Thank you.